Hey guys, Spageth here. So this week I just want to talk about my fibromyalgia and how it's a little different than or maybe a little bit the same as the kind with Ehlers-Danlos. There's a lot of debate about that. I also just want to talk a bit about how dealing with pain in a general sense often affects your mood or your state of mind, from my point of view. I also will go over a little bit about how the nerve burns that I've had done, um, and where each one was done on my body, and the benefits and longevity, and just in general how those procedures work. But really quickly, though, I do want to just show you guys this really awesome poster or sign I just got. As you see, it says I'm broken, but then in gold it says I'm okay. And when I saw this on a display, I really enjoyed it. It spoke to me because I'm broken in ways, and at the same time I'm okay. And I know a lot of people with disabilities are feel broken or whatnot, and it's just a nice little homage to say that I'm broken, but hey, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with how I am and who I am, and I have value and all that. The other thing I want to quickly show you is, so yesterday was my 39th birthday, and my niece, bless her heart, she saw that poster I bought, and she made her own version of it. A little cute little band-aid she put on there on a spot that she kind of made a boo-boo on. It was really sweet and just definitely made my day. I cried admittedly, and these kids are a huge part of what helps me get through my days. And so I just wanted to share that real quick. But now back on topic, really quick though, I do want to give some updates about getting my hand therapy, as well as how my back is doing. Now I did finally get an appointment with an occupational therapist that starts at the beginning of February. Sadly though, it won't be with the lady I briefly had last year, at the beginning of last year. That's because, I guess, according to my doctor's orders, I need a more specialized therapist and more types of treatments and stuff, and that's a good thing overall. So hopefully it'll help me in my recovery and hopefully help me recover more. And so that hopefully will turn out to be a really good thing. And obviously I'll keep you guys posted with that. Now, as far as my back is doing, it's better. On Saturday, or not Saturday, on Tuesday, in fact, I had received an epidural. Now, this is the first time I've ever had an epidural, so I really didn't know what to expect, procedure-wise, pain-wise, or how it was going to help. And so thankfully, after the soreness from the procedure itself wore off, I'm actually feeling a decent amount of relief on my left side. That's the side I had it done, is the lower left of my back. So I do still, unfortunately, feel the numbness that shoots down the left side of my left leg. But the pain, the intense pain that I guess at least came with it, is toned way down. So that's really good and helpful. I can deal with the numbness, and it's mostly when I'm sitting in a certain position or chair, or if I sit like in a kitchen chair for too long, or if I'm doing my exercises, then it kind of triggers it a little bit. But in general, it's not that bad as a whole. And like I said, this was only done to my left side, so when I see the doctor next time, I'll request to get the right side done, and then hopefully that will help my lower back as a whole, with the pain, and I'm still also needing to possibly get a upper back nerve burn to help with the general pain and soreness, especially with the correcting of my scoliosis that's been going on. So I'll also have to talk about that with my doctor and get that scheduled as well, if it's going to be beneficial. That is, that's why I had the MRI done. And then again, I'll keep you guys updated with how my back goes and therapy and all of that. Obviously, this week I took a little bit off because when you have a procedure like the epidural, you're not allowed to exercise or work out or lift heavy objects for at least 3 days. Typically a little longer for me because I take longer to recover. So I just didn't go to my Thursday appointment. And today I'll be actually starting back up on my exercises later tonight. So that'll be good. So now, since I brought up the nerve burn, we'll talk about that first. The areas that I had received my nerve burns and so far as my lower back, left and right side. And then I've also received them in both the left and right side of my neck. Now, the reason why I got it done in my lower back was because I kept getting the shooting nerve pain that would go all the way down my legs and to my feet. I still deal with localized nerve pain in the lower back area, but it's isolated and it's more tolerable and manageable than the shooting nerve pain down the legs. Now, as far as my neck goes, however, I get these done because I get tension headaches. And I might have talked about migraines and stuff before, but if I didn't, I'll bring it up in another video. But I get chronic migraines and headaches, and so adding tension headaches to it just triggers all the other stuff, and so it's just the reason why I got it done, because apparently there's nerves in my neck, according to MRIs, that are getting pinched, and I guess that's essentially sending the pain forward to my forehead, and it's causing the tension and the headaches that come with it, and obviously those headaches can trigger worse headaches and so on. So that's why I get it done in my neck. Now, if you haven't had a tension headache before, it's like obviously tense and tight, but it's kind of like if you put a tight rubber band over your head. It's kind of that similar sensation. It's about the best I can explain it at this point. It's often, like for me, it's often a dull ache all over my head. Sometimes in the forehead, I get like these sore pressure points as well. And I would get severe fatigue in my neck to the point where like it's hard and painful to hold up my head, because it just feels like the muscle in my neck has just been so overworked for whatever reason, either because the nerves are being pinched or whatnot. And so, there are different types of tension headaches. And I'll leave you guys with a link in the description down below on more about tension headaches and stuff, so that you guys can take a look at it, and if you guys maybe deal with any sort of possible tension headaches, maybe that'll help. Now I want to talk a little bit more about the nerve burning in itself. So what exactly the nerve burn is they insert these hollow-like tubes into the different nerves or nerve endings, I guess, of the ones that they plan to burn off. And once they get those tubes into the correct position, they use also like a form of X-ray. I don't remember the exact type, but they basically, they stick it, they take the thing, they stick it in to where they think it is, and then they take a quick, little X-ray, and then if it's not quite right, they adjust it. So sometimes it's quite a easy process, because they can get it right away, but sometimes it's not, and they have to kind of constantly pull it out, move it around. You kind of get the gist of that. And then basically once they have them all in the correct spots, then they put something else down that tube that essentially acts, I believe, as a microwave. I think is how they said it. I use microwaves, and it burns off or cooks off the nerves or nerve endings, so that you no longer feel that pain in that area and wherever it may lead to. Now, yeah, obviously, like I just kind of described, it kind of can be fairly painful procedure because they don't knock you out. They don't give you laughing gas. They just give you like calming or relaxing medication with a little bit of painkiller. That's just a temporary one that wears off in an hour or two. And of course, they'll numb up the area with shots, but you still feel it to a degree at least. And you're only allowed to get those medicines for the procedure if you're not driving yourself. If you have a driver to take you home, you're allowed to get those medicines. Otherwise, if you don't, and you're going to drive yourself, you have to just front the whole weight of that pain. And I'll say I have had to do that many times because there's just not always a time where I can get somebody to take me. And so I take myself, or sometimes I take myself because I have other things I need to get done that day, and I can't I can't have other people go to other appointments for me, or whatever the case may be. So there has been several times where I've had to take the full weight of that pain, and it's not pleasant, but hey, I deal with pain every day, so in the end I just figure, what, it's fine. Anyways, so I want to go over the benefits of these nerve burns. So as I said, talked about the tension headaches, that obviously helps with that, but the nerve pain down my legs from my back, clearly the nerve burns stop that from happening. I also feel less pain in general just in the back area where they do the burn. And it also helps with like my overall movability because I'm not, I twisted a certain way or I sat a certain way and it's hitting something, it just kind of helps in general as well, which is a great thing to be able to have that pain relief in any way possible. Now, as how long these nerve burns generally last, they say on average for most people it lasts up to about a year. They've seen some up to 2 years, but that is not often they see that. They say more of the average is like, maybe 9 to 12 months. But unfortunately for me, I average about 6 months. I've maybe gotten 9 months a couple of times, but it's very rare. And so usually every 6 months I have to go and get nerve burns, the whole process of the back and neck nerve burns done all over. And it takes the time because the way the system works, or at least here anyways, I have to see the doctor. They have to approve the first one. Then I get it done. Then I see the doctor the next month, and so on. And so, you're talking 4 nerve burns between the lower back and the neck. That's 4 months of time from when I start the nerve burn process to when I'm done. And then 6 months later from the first one, right back where I was. And now I don't know if I'll need to do epidurals all the time now, or if this is just going to be during this time period of correcting my back. If so, then it'll probably be most likely every month I'm getting some sort of procedure done, which if that's the case, that's the case. You got to do whatever you got to do to help yourself feel better and have that pain relief, because it is very important. And if you've dealt with any degree of pain, you understand that it's hard to function with that pain. So get yourself the treatments you need because it's important. You are important. Just remember that. So now I want to kind of dip into my fibromyalgia a little bit. It is generally classified as a widespread pain that you'll feel throughout your entire body. And it could be worse in certain areas or locations of your body. But the pain is a general continuous, ranging from a minimal type of pain to very severe. It just depends from person to person, and whatever other factors might play a part in it, as well. It depends on that. It also can cause you to have stiffness, which I experience every morning. And a lot of the stiffness is because if you stay stagnant or still in a position for X amount of time, that joint or that body part becomes stiff because of the fibromyalgia and maybe other factors like arthritis for me. And so that's why, it's always good to constantly, if you can, to move and stuff. But when you sleep at night, I mean, generally you can't control you sleeping in that one position or flipping or not. So sometimes that's difficult, and that's why a lot of times I also deal with the lower back stiffness and pain and stuff, is because I'm just in that one position all night. So let's see. The muscle spasms are also a thing from fibromyalgia. I know a lot of people probably have had muscle spasms. For me, it's a very odd sensation. It almost sometimes feels like this weird ripple in my muscle. Like I used to get a lot in my legs, especially before medication, where it just felt like this weird pulse or ripple through this one muscle or so. And it's a very odd and uncomfortable experience. It wasn't usually painful unless it triggered the fibromyalgia in a way that it caused the nerves to hurt or be agitated in a way. But overall, it was okay. And now with the medication, at least the spasms is usually generally controlled, so I don't worry about that too much. Now, there are a lot of things to go over in terms of fibromyalgia, so much so that I'm not going to cover everything in this video. I can always go over more in detail at a later time. If you guys feel you want me to cover more on that, that's totally fine. But for now, I'm just going to give you a link in the description for it that you can kind of read up on, the symptoms and condition, all that good stuff, and go from there. And so I kind of also want to talk now briefly about the fatigue a little bit. I know I've talked about it in a couple other videos or one other video. The fatigue does also often come from the fibromyalgia. And it's not like it's just a constant you feel fatigued. Okay, it could be you wake up and you feel fatigued. It could be you're full of energy. Like I'll be like, oh, I feel like I got some extra energy right now. Let me maybe tidy up my room a little bit, or whatever it might be. And all of a sudden, 5 minutes in, and boom, that energy is not just gone, but I'm spent. My fatigue is just came on out of nowhere, and it's just go sit your butt down. You're done. And it's frustrating, especially if you get into the middle of something and you want to really finish it, but you just don't have the energy anymore. And it also varies on the amount in time and all those things that it affects you in terms of exhaustion and fatigue. So, like I said, there's going to be a link in the description about, fibromyalgia and some of the things it causes and whatnot. So if you want a more in-depth look, please feel free to check that out. Now, mood I want to talk about because for me, I've always dealt with mood issues my whole life. But when it comes to pain and all the challenges of it, it really does impact my mood a lot in particular. There's some mornings I'll wake up and instantly I can tell my back is hurting. I'm super stiff. My nerves are just not sitting right, or whatever it might be. I can feel it, and I just don't feel in a happy mood. I feel checked out, or I just don't feel like putting on that fake smile, or whatever it might be. But it totally affects me to my core because it's draining the pain. Okay, it drains everything out of you, and you try to do your best just to function. To be able to do your everyday things like, I don't know, eat. Do basic things. It's sometimes a challenge when you're in that much pain, and all you want to try to do is not focus on the pain and try to focus on feeling less pain and feeling better. And so it's sometimes you just don't have the energy or the care to put on that show of, oh yeah, everything's fine, or just even just be happy in general. And don't get me wrong, I don't like being angry, I don't like being upset, I don't like being easily ticked off by stupid things, but that's life for me. Okay, and being grumpy or angry is just, unfortunately, the way I try to look at it is a way to just gauge how I'm doing for my family, right? So what I mean by that is, if they see that they say something that clearly irritated me super easily, then maybe then they can see, okay, I don't think he meant to take offense to that. He's just obviously hurting a lot today because he's just mentally in a not good space right now. And as much as I don't like being grumpy and angry with family or friends or anybody, it's just sometimes out of my control because I'd rather focus on feeling better than feeling happy in that moment. Because if I can feel less pain, then I can slowly feel happier. They kind of coincide in a lot of ways. And so it's tough. Having low energy or exhaustion also plays into the moods and stuff as well. And some pains will make it worse, like migraines for me, definitely, or just really bad headaches can really impair that ability, mostly because it's a mental thing as well. It messes with your head as we have a migraine and stuff. So, but yeah, you try to do your best, and that's really all you can do. And like I said, maybe just use that as a way for your family or your friends to have an indicator for how you're doing that day, right? Because sometimes it's like you don't want to say how you're feeling, or you don't feel like you should or need to, or whatever the case may be. So that could be a good indicator for some people, right? If that's your thing. Anyways, it's just a suggestion. I know for me it's probably a good thing because I'm not very good at expressing myself in a lot of ways. So I think for me anyways, it's a good thing. So for now, that is going to be all for this video. I do want to apologize if this video in particular seemed a bit rushed or rough around the edges. It was a tough week for me, of course, with the epidural and just having to take it extra easy because of it, and just my birthday yesterday. I had a good fun night out with my sister and her husband, and today we kind of been celebrating the whole thing. So been a little rushed, a little frazzled about it, and so I'm sorry if this comes across a little rushed or not so polished. But as always, I love you all, and I want you all to know that you all have value in this world, even if it's not easy to see that in yourself. I know I often don't see it in myself, but we do, and you do have value. So please take care of yourself and be kind to others, as you never know what that person may be going through. because we all struggle in our own ways. And, so be kind and keep that in mind. And yes, that was as corny as it sounded, but I meant it, okay? And again, I thank you all for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel. And feel free to leave any comments on any questions you may have or want me to go on more in depth on certain topics. That's it for now. I thank you, and I'll see you next time.